for years. Then the Irish adopted the kilt. The interesting piece we slightly touched on revolves around kilt tartan, which is what we just mentioned over there that describes the clans. Regional regional kilt tartans have a lot of significance apart from the addition to rich history. A kilt tartan is a pattern often similar to plaid. Kilt tartans define the family or clan that a person came from. In other words, if you were from County Cork, you would wear a kilt with gold stripe in it, as well as red and blue block lines. The colors as well as the patterns itself would be the specific kilt tartan of your clan. In fact, tartan patterns for each family began to be officially recorded in the 19th century. If you aren't registered with the Tartan Authority, your clan's kilt tartan pattern might not be considered official. So each, when we see, I just looked at it as a skirt. I just looked at it as a skirt that you put on with pretty colors in it, but it's a lot more than that. See, you learned something. Kilt tartans are made of wool, but more specifically, twill that is weaved in a specific way. It is warp and weft of the weave that makes the diagonal pattern a tartan. Tartans then, to be accurate for family ties, must be woven in a specific way. Colors of the thread must be placed in a very specific order to form the kilt associated with the family in question. Can you imagine weaving your family's kilts? No, I can't. I can't even imagine weaving my family's hair. That's a good one. Well, I used to do that years ago. I don't do it anymore. Irish genealogy, okay, discusses the strife that came to Ireland during the Elizabeth era. Many families were forced to angelize their names. The kilt tartan was one one or was one more way for families to identify with their heritage and clan. The weave of the kilt tartan as well as the pattern help families to associate with their homes. Isn't that sweet? So if you were, refugee and you didn't have anyone, if you wore your kilt, your colors, and someone of that clan recognized you or a friend of the clan, they could befriend you and say, "Hey, you're my family. Hey, we're all blue and green kilts around here." I think that is so cool. Truly, there's not much to expand on when it comes to kilt patterns. Just know the pattern was one more way for them to hang on to their Irish culture, whether it's a familiar clan or ancient Celtic one. And it says, if you're considering traveling to Ireland, you may want to research your family and see if your family actually had a kilt. And then it shows the kilt in there. I just think that that is so interesting. So interesting. Okay. It says during the 16th century, in the style in Scotland, Ireland was to wear a cloak over a tunic, like under a dress. Most likely, the first version of the Scottish kilt was drab in color. They were worn quite often by Highland farmers. Families with a little more money could show their wealth by using vegetable dyes in the colors of their kilts. Poor members of society would always have the roughest, rawest, drabbest woolen kilts made, making them a Scottish symbol, status of symbol of sorts. So they identified each other by how bright. The brighter the quilt, the more wealthier you are. Kind of like black people. The the more expensive sneakers. Something like that, right? Eventually, wool became more available. The Scottish quilt evolved to include more material. It was called the Great Kilt. The style became the pleat access material by hand and place a belt around it. So the extra material, you pleated it and you placed a belt around it. The style was so long, so you could also throw excess material over your shoulder. When you see pictures of Irish kilts and Scottish kilts, a great kilt style will be the one which includes gathered pleated material held together with a belt. Wow, did you know that? I just thought that was awesome style. Around 1720, the Scottish began to open up the highlands to the outside exploration. This meant development of the land as well. Thomas Rawlinson was one of the businessmen who invested in the explorations. He became frustrated with the Scottish quilt. The long quilt was difficult for him to move in. He took the Scottish quilt to a local tailor, complaining he needed to be able to cut trees and have more movement, more functionality from his kilt. The tailor simply snipped the garment into two, birthing the walking kilt, a shorter, more functional version of a great kilt. See, I didn't know that. I just, I love this stuff. I really do. Um, and moving forward to the 17th century of Scottish kilt, a law was established banning all versions of the Highland dress. A fine was imposed for first offender, prison time for the second offenders. The law practically eliminated the wearing of the kilt. However, those wishing to rebel against the law should do so on their own peril. With this development, you can see how the Scottish kilt instantly became an icon of Scotland. You can also that you can also note at the time of the banishment, 9 out of 10 were Scots. 9 out of 10 Scots were lowlanders. You can see who was beginning to be being targeted by the enactment of these laws. So they targeted specific people, just like in today's African American community. It's a small world when we have so much in common. Okay. Okay, around this time, kilt tartans began to take shape as identifiers of the family or clan. The tartan of a kilt allows historians to trace back to a family's name and geographic location. You'll note that we spent most of the time talking about Irish kilts and Scottish kilts, discussing Scottish kilts. Right? This is where tartans come in. Please note that Irish kilt history stems from the ability of historians to connect and disavow Ireland's kilt usage based on tartans. Wow. The Scottish kilt have a long history of tartans. The Irish one a little spotty. The Irish kilt was most likely a long tunic made from a solid color cloth, usually saffron or dark green. Again, the solid colored tunic acted as a symbol of Celtic nationalism in 19th and 20th centuries. Today, you will notice Irish kilts and Scottish kilts are an important part of culture. They are celebrated at special ceremonies, various national functions. You can't help but appreciate the rich history of the Irish kilt. And that is about the Irish kilt. And let's go ahead and listen to Ashley right now. We're going to go and listen to Ashley's her new song, which is Satisfied. And I will be right back. Yes, that was my little edition of the river dance. I love watching that dance. You know, black folks may have shaken the booty down pat and them rhythmic moves that we got, but can't move like that. We can't move like them river dance. Their legs be woo 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 woo. They feet that. I mean, you can't beat that. I just love watching that. I saw that off of YouTube, so I just thought that'd be nice to play it on the show. While I introduce why Irish dancers have straight arms. Okay, you want to know some stuff about the river dance? Here's a little bit of history.